Hi all, this video is going to give you a brief look on the life of Imam Musa al-Kadhim. Imam Musa is our 7th Imam, and his title, al-Kadhim, means to restrain anger. Imam al-Kadhim is the only Imam to be named after a prophet, and this is because he looked like Prophet Musa. The Imam was a student of his father, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, and his mother, Hamida. She was of African descent and was so knowledgeable that the Imam would tell the people, if you have a question to ask me, ask my wife Hamida. She'll answer in the same way as I do. His father, Imam Ja'far, was a walking example of the greatness of the Imams. One day, a guy sees him working hard in the fields and says to him, "You're an Imam, let someone else do the work for you." He replies by saying, "What's the shame in earning a lawful living? I work hard to earn my own living just like the prophets before me. Idris alayhi salam was a tailor, Musa was a shepherd, Dawood used to work with the iron, Isa was a carpenter, and Muhammad used to work for Khadija as a tradesman." The Imam was very knowledgeable from a young age. One day, Abu Hanifa, the Imam of the Hanafi school, went to Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq to ask him a question. Imam as-Sadiq was very busy at the time, so Imam al-Kadhim said, "Ask me, I might be able to answer." Abu Hanifa was hesitant because the Imam was only 5 years old at the time, but he asked the question anyway. He said, "When we commit a sin, is it Allah who makes us sin? Or is it us and Allah? Or is it us alone?" The Imam's response highlights his wisdom. He said, "If it is Allah who makes us sin, then it is not fair He puts us in hell when He made us commit the sin. If it is us and Allah, it's still not fair that we are punished because He was part of the crime. We have been given the choice of free will, and it is us alone who commit sin." Another incident occurs where Abu Hanifa questions him. He thinks Imam Musa is praying incorrectly because the Imam didn't stick his hand out when someone walked past him in prayers. So he asks the Imam, "Why didn't you stick your hand out?" The Imam replies, "Allah says He is closer to me than my jugular vein. While I was praying, I was so focused on my Lord that I didn't see any human walk past me." And this is a response coming from a 5-year-old. We again see how great the Imam is and how he truly holds his title al-Kadhim. One day, a man in the street says, "Curse unto you and your father." The Imam restrains his anger and doesn't reply. But not only that, the very next day he goes to the man's garden to talk to him. As he is entering, the guy curses and yells out, "Your footsteps have ruined my garden." The Imam, still calm, apologizes and asks him how much the garden cost him. The guy says, 100 dinar. How much does he expect to make from it? The guy replies, 200 dinar. The Imam gives him a bag that has exactly 300 dinar. The man is in disbelief. "How can you treat me with such manners? Look at the way I cursed you." The Imam replies, "We the people of the Ahl al-Bayt have been taught to instill akhlaq not only in the lives of the people, but our lives as well." The lessons we learn from the Imam are phenomenal. The Imam is walking past a house and he can hear music. He asks the lady at the front, "Is the owner of the house a free man or a slave?" She replies, "Of course he's a free man." The Imam says, "Yes, definitely, because if he was a slave, he would know which master is watching him." The lady goes inside and tells her husband what the Imam said. He runs out barefoot after the Imam to thank him, because he had never thought about music in such a way. He thought to himself, "If I am truly a abd, how am I not respecting my master by playing music at home? How in salat am I saying I am a abd of Allah, yet in my house I'm listening to the people who oppose Allah?" This man, named Bishr al-Hafi, the Sufis follow till today. At the age of 20, Imam Musa al-Kadhim becomes Imam after the death of his father. The ruler at the time is from the Abbasid Khalifa, al-Mansur al-Dawaniqi. He realizes the influence the Imams are having and wants to get rid of their lineage. So he orders his governor, Sulayman, to get a hold of the will of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq and behead whoever he has listed as his successor. When he saw the list, he was shocked to see his name first, followed by Sulayman, then Abdullah, then Hamida, and then al-Musa al-Kadhim. His plan backfired in his face. This goes to show that the Imams are no ordinary humans. They have knowledge of the unknown, and he was able to preempt Mansur's plan. During the Imam's time, there was the most oppression. The political situation meant that all Shia had to practice in taqiyya, which basically means concealing their faith. After al-Mansur al-Dawaniqi died, his son, Hadi, became the ruler. and he was responsible for the worst tragedy to affect Ahl al-Bayt after Karbala, the incident of Fakh. The Shia were being so oppressed that the Imam's cousin, Hussein bin Ali al-Khair, goes to the top of the palace of the governor of Hadi and says to the Shia, "We need to rise." Under the leadership of Hussein bin Ali al-Khair and his sister Zainab, the Shia rose. History repeating itself 100 years after Karbala, Hussein and Zainab fighting against oppression. During the battle, Hussein is eventually killed, and all the grandchildren of Ahl al-Bayt of Fatima al-Zahra are taken to Hadi's palace where they are beheaded. Shortly after, Hadi dies, and as if the political situation wasn't bad enough, the next in line was the worst Khalifa to rule, Harun al-Rashid, and it is during his time that he imprisons the Imam Musa al-Kadhim. Although the Imam was in prison, his followers were not left alone. Bahlul and 2 other close companions of the Imam go to him in prison and ask him, "What are we supposed to do?" The Imam replies with the Arabic letter Jim. Everyone interprets it differently. Bahlul believes it to mean Junoon, to act insane. There are many examples of Bahlul's sacrifice for the religion. There is a separate video detailing those lessons. Click on the link to find out more. We see the dedication of another of his companions, Ali ibn Yaqtin, who was acting as a minister for Harun al-Rashid. He writes a letter to the Imam asking him, "How do we perform wudu, washing before prayers?" The Imam replies saying to wash his feet instead of wipe. Meanwhile, one of the workers of Harun suspects that Ali ibn Yaqtin is a follower of Imam Musa al-Kadhim and says to Harun, "We must kill him." Harun replies that this is not possible, he's my governor, but we can confirm by seeing how he performs wudu, because he knows that the Shia wipe, as it is stated in the Quran, instead of wash. Later that night, they see Ali performing wudu and he washes his feet as he is told by the Imam. Harun is content that he's not Shia. Subhanallah, it is the knowledge of the Imam and Ali's devotion that spares his life. So before we conclude, I just want to put you all into perspective as to who Harun al-Rashid is. Let's look at the family tree. You have Abd al-Muttalib, who was the grandfather of the Prophet. He has 3 sons. Abdullah, who's the Prophet's father, Abi Talib, who's Imam Ali's father, and Abbas. And this is where the lineage of the Abbasid Khalifa comes from. These are the ones who are imprisoning the Imams of their time, like Harun al-Rashid. So the Imams are being oppressed, tortured and killed by their own cousins. The Imam is in prison for 15 years, and it is because of his nephew who is paid out by the Khalifa to spread a rumour that the Imam is trying to fight those in power. During his imprisonment, the Imam is tortured beyond belief, but yet he states, "Thank you Allah for providing me with a place to worship you alone." No matter how many guards they sent to the Imam's cell to torture him, the Imam would remain in prayers and remain patient. He truly was Al-Kadhim. We have only touched base on the Imam's life. I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you all for watching.